Hello, welcome to Adobe Live. I'm here with Elize, and we are here to present her work, but also just enjoy you guys in front of us and like talk about some design today. And so we're gonna have a fun-packed day, and I just want to say hi to everyone that's in the chat around the world joining us. I already see some familiar names, and feel free to log in and just chat with us. So we have a full day lined up. And we cannot wait to get involved in what Elize is doing, but we definitely want to talk about what's going on for the rest of the day. So as soon as we have the slide, here we go. So on Adobe Live today, what we're going to be doing is with us. You know that we're here, and then after us at 12 o'clock we have a case study, but then we have this is today, so we're we're at the end of our day. So you already know what's going on. And
that's for last.
Yeah, so that's right. So we have a creative challenge today, and I want you to check out what's on our site here. And we had Andrea Hawk give us all of what we're going to be doing, but make sure to go into our creative challenge on Behance and look at the challenge, and then make sure to join the community and chat. And this is just a way for you to submit your designs. And then just log back in here and check out what people make. And so today's design, as far as the challenge, is going to be designing an assistant. And we're using responsive resize as a way to have that design come back. And that's what we want to see, how you push your designs from web to mobile and how to use the responsive and resize to make that happen. So it's going to be really cool to see what you guys create and how much fun stuff there is out there for us to see. And so we're gonna review the challenges very soon, but make sure to push. If you don't get those finished today, you can always submit them and we can see them tomorrow. So definitely a great place to do that is the Discord channel, and that's what I'm logged in here now. And so we already have people submitting stuff, so that's great.
Ooh.
So we want to see more. Bring us more stuff so we can highlight your work. We really want to highlight your work. And so Discord is where you're going to log in to do that. And once you have your work up there, we'll be able to review that, and we'll just talk about it and admire some of your beautiful designs. Oh, look, as we speak, more stuff is coming in.
Yeah.
And so thank you again. If just bring those comments in the chat, and make sure to stick around for the sticker challenge. So we want you to comment as much as possible, and for a chance to win stickers. And we're doing that sticker mule giveaway, so 100 stickers to whoever is selected in the chat. And that's something that is super fun, and you can get really cool stickers. Like I got my bacon sticker here.
Ooh.
Are you a sticker person?
Obviously not, but I need to come up on that.
Maybe underneath that there's stickers.
There's stickers all underneath my computer. I'm a secret sticker person.
Jason Rose, how's it going? And where you guys? Where's everyone commenting from? We'd like to know where you are.
Yeah, where you at?
And like time zones are like across the board. We love that you're here with us.
Hi, Stefan. That's my fiance's brother. Woo!
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Look at that, showing love.
He's UX designer in Europe, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you everyone for being here with us. You could be a lot of places, but you're with us here today.
Yay.
And so I want to introduce Elize.
Hello.
And she's going to talk about her work. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the intro. Thank you for everyone who's on here and who is writing in the chat. I saw Julia even write my name with the accent on it. So
yeah,
good on you for that, because it took me a while to figure that out. So hi, I'm Elize. I am a UX design strategist, educator, and recently YouTuber.
Yeah.
So I'm also from Los Angeles. And just to give a little background to who I am for you to get to know me a little bit better, is about 5 years ago, I was going through my mid-20s life crisis, where I didn't know who I was, where I wanted to go in life, like what my career was going to be, because at the time I was a performing artist, like a singer, songwriter, dancer, which really meant like I was waiting tables and driving Uber, and I had a couple of like online business. I was like hustling. And I started to think like maybe perhaps like I'm not gonna be going on tour with Lady Gaga anytime soon. So maybe I need to like turn my life around and like switch things up and change my career path. And so I thought about going into tech and more specifically design because of my creative background.
Right.
And so I signed up for General Assembly, their
cool.
10-week UX program,
Yeah.
and it was the best decision I had ever made. In the last 5 years, I've become a UX director at a digital marketing agency in El Segundo. I was co-founder of a UX design agency, and now what I'm doing is I am getting to help people who are in that same situation that I was in 5 years ago.
That's great.
People who can't afford to go to college.
Yeah.
People who did go to college, but they didn't learn about UX design or they didn't even know it existed. People who prefer to even go a different education route.
Right.
And what I'm trying to do is to tell those people that if you're a self-learner, which I'm imagining a lot of the people on here are self-learners, if you're a self-learner, you're motivated, you're willing to work really hard, you're willing to get uncomfortable and make some risks, like you can do anything, right? Like not just UX design, you can do anything. And so what I'm trying to do is help people to motivate and to help them go to that next stage in their career.
Right.
Because a lot of people have like these internal roadblocks. Like for me, I was like, oh, my performance background isn't gonna translate into UX design. Well, that's completely false. Like my performance background, my experience as an Uber driver talking to people all the time, my life experience as a meditator, as a traveler, all that has translated into design and has differentiated me in the marketplace. And everybody has a skill set and a different background that differentiates themselves as well. And so what I'm trying to do is through my content and through my consulting business, I'm trying to help people remove those internal roadblocks and to help to, again, motivate, educate, and hopefully entertain them a little bit with my content and get them to that next stage in their career.
Yeah, and you want to add value, right, to the businesses that you're designing for. And I love the piece about educating. Like, how can you like pass on the knowledge that you have, not only in your design practice, but like what you've learned before that, and like all the experiences that you've gathered, like while you're transitioning into the into UX field, is all applying, right? Because you're still using all of those understanding of human behavior and your own limitations and being able to create experiences and change experiences. And like you're going to show us as far as looking at like websites that are a little. You know, like either not to say bad design, but like they're just kind of maybe don't have the resources to or the right connections to make these designs happen in a way where people can like understand them a little bit better. Because especially with like these not-for-profits, there's a lot of information, and everyone's trying to fit all the information above the fold, and there's so much to like think about as far as hierarchy and page structure. And I noticed that like one of the activities you enjoy is like card sorting to understand like how can we approach like design on that other level of not just visual design, but like being able to have a website that has the right structure and the right order, and how card sorting can really help you understand how to structure a page correctly.
Yeah, and I think like also for me, a lot of emerging designers that I talk to, they're all like, okay, I'm a architect or I'm a graphic designer. How is that going to translate? And so I kind of want to know from the viewers, like, what is your background? Did you go to a traditional art school? Did you not? Are you a self-learner? Like, just want to get a little bit of information from you guys of where you guys are at. Someone's like, card sorting? Card sorting, I'll talk a little bit
into that.
We'll talk a little bit about that, but I actually have a video on my YouTube which I'm going to show that goes into card sorting and the benefits of it. And it's kind of like a prerequisite to what we're doing today. So if you're interested, you can watch that after this episode.
Information architecture is one of the biggest things that we need to pay attention to as UX designers, because what the like IDEO's framework is understanding like the design thinking, and a big part of that is making sense of messes.
And
so like
love it.
When you have like just
clean house.
And it's like kind of need to like Marie Kondo your design, right?
Does this spark joy? No.
You need your website to spark joy, and so like
I love that.
And I think like a lot of the self-learning and General Assembly is I wouldn't say like not, it's definitely like a lot, it's intense. And it is a lot of self-learning, because they're not going to teach you everything. They're going to teach you like 20% of what you need to actually know.
You got to go into the world and learn it yourself.
And you have to. And so like I think would maybe approached it on a little bit more like standard way. I went to school and I learned design, and I didn't learn everything I needed to do. So like I had to also expand my horizons to learn about like accessibility.
You're a self-learner. You're
Yes,
a self-learner.
yes,
You're a self-learner.
We all self-learn. Because even in an institution like college or any design school, it is all what you make of it, right?
Yeah, totally.
And if you don't put in the effort to achieve, then you're not going to get your full understanding of the field as well.
Yeah,
So
totally.
you still always have to, explore yourself, explore your own creativity, and that's what like a platform like Behance is great for. So you can actually express your work
Yes,
and just
I
get
love that.
really great feedback. And the community is just really supportive and also just very talented. Like being able to just explore some of the work of our people that like log in. It's amazing to see some of the work that they create, and it's a really great showcase.
Totally, yeah. I'm looking at some of these things that people are saying here, and like, what do we have here? Degree in graphic design. Yes. Oh, thank goodness for Adobe Live. Now I'm a UX UI designer. Yeah.
Right. But like going from forensic anthropology to design.
That I found is really good for people to understand. Like, well, I guess there's cultural anthropology, but just being learning that is actually really does transfer as well into this field.
Information architecture is probably something that they understand quite well, right? Taxonomies and naming, and it's a very, very like big.
Yeah.
It's a big problem in UX is like how to understand that. It's great.
I love these comments. Forensic Anthro was like that TV show Bones. Yeah. Anyway. Loving the comments here. Okay, so just to talk a little bit quickly about my YouTube channel. So this is the video we were talking about, UX Makeover, where you're going to learn more about site architecture, card sorting, navigation, if you want to watch that later. And so I created this new series, UX Makeover, because I wanted to show the transition from the transformation process of going through this whole UX process and what that looks like, and I want to define things in a really easy to understand format. And so that's kind of my new series. And what I'm offering right now, actually, to my next, to 5 subscribers, not my next 5, to 5 subscribers who subscribe to my channel today and tomorrow, I'm offering a free mentorship session. So
Awesome.
30 minutes free mentorship session with me. So all you have to do is take a screenshot or subscribe to my channel, take a screenshot and send it to my email here or my Instagram. My email is alize@alizeux.com, very simple there. And on Wednesday, I am going to select 5 people to get 30 minutes free mentorship from me. And what that's gonna look like is we can look at your portfolio, we can look at case studies, we can just talk about your career. And so if you find that beneficial or are looking for information like that, then please just subscribe.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking a little bit about, doing this whole makeover for nonprofits. And why are we doing it for nonprofits? Well, for me personally, nonprofits are near and dear to my heart because my father was homeless for a number of years. And only through nonprofits, through community programs, through government assistance, and through frankly, like the kindness of other people, has he been able to get out of homelessness.
Wow.
And so I firsthand have experienced the difficulties and the challenges that people have that are in this field.
Right.
And so what I want to do is I want to help those people help other people better.
That's great.
Yeah. And I encourage other designers to do the same because one, a lot of these nonprofits don't have the resources to hire designers to help them with their design challenges.
Yeah.
And guess who loves design challenges? Designers,
Right,
right?
right.
Designers love design challenges, probably like,
Yeah.
biting at the bone or whatever that term is. And so a lot of designers have on their portfolio case studies that are like not real case studies, stuff that they're just like passion projects, whatever. Hypothetical. Because maybe they can't find a company to work with them, or maybe it's just for fun or whatever. So there's an opportunity for them to start working with the nonprofits in their community.
Yeah, because we have enough like tip calculators
Yeah,
and
exactly.
calendars and like weather apps, right? Like
Exactly.
applying it to something that is very impactful and meaningful. It's also giving you a new perspective on how important design could be, right?
Yes, also building that empathy, empathy skill to have as a designer.
Because you're connected to this in a very passionate way personally, and sometimes it takes that perspective to have this ambition to create for social good.
Yeah.
But there are ways to still channel that energy if you haven't directly had that experience in your life.
Yeah, totally.
And still help out people in need because, like you said, resources are very short. So to be able to create for these people is just a very powerful thing.
Yeah, totally.
So thank you for doing that.
Yes, yeah. And so also this is for people, a lot of junior designers have told me like, I don't have enough real world experience.
Yeah.
This is also another opportunity. And I've also found that designers like yourself are very empathetic people, and we want to help people, and we actually do want to help other people through our work, through our design.
Sure.
And this is one of the ways that you can do it, and you can see the impact of it so much more quickly than you can with other projects.
I can't wait to see what you're doing.
Yeah, so I encourage you guys to potentially be part of this movement, design makeover movement. If you
That's
want to be
awesome.
part of this, just hashtag this so we can start to like talk amongst our community and talk about how we're impacting our greater communities.
Great. I love it.
All right. Well, is there an app to find local nonprofits to work with? I'm gonna like potentially put some links up and stuff. And but I think if you just search nonprofits in your community, you're probably gonna find a whole long list of you'll look on their website and be like, this one needs help, this one needs help. So I'm sure you can find some.
There's a lot of places out there, especially like finding something that's personal to you is something that could really make more impact. So I would recommend just like looking online, but also like look into like what you want to do with yourself and like what's important to you, and attach yourself to those causes, because you never know what might happen.
Yeah.
Like you might actually be more impactful to that movement than you initially thought.
Yeah, if you're passionate, you're gonna like go work even
go it.
harder
That's
for
right.
it. It's
Yeah.
gonna like, especially if you don't get paid, like that, the passion has to be the driving force.
It has to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to be focusing on this nonprofit today, Children's Home Society of California. They are, I think, countrywide, but we're going to specifically be looking at their California website. And what they do is they help parents who are unemployed or are seeking work or just don't have the means to have childcare. They help them get childcare assistance and childcare providers. So that's who we're gonna be helping today. All right, let's look at the schedule for the next 2 days. All right, day one today. First thing we're gonna do is a heuristic evaluation. And how I like to define this in an easy to understand way is we're gonna be judging the site. We're gonna be like, this is working, this isn't working. It's really fun, and I'm gonna ask you guys to help me with this. Number two, we're gonna be doing a user interview. Actually, we're not gonna be doing it. I'm gonna show you a user interview I did a couple days ago with Ashley. She is the one who actually asked me to help with this site because she was using it and had difficulties with it. So I'm gonna share with you, it's about a 2-minute video of what how she felt and her goals and motivations when using this site. And then we're gonna go into user flows, like I'm gonna show you step by step what I think the user should be doing when they land on the site. And then we're gonna go into sketching, drawing out. I actually already did the sketches, so I'll just show you my sketches and kind of explain to you how I got there. And then we're gonna go into mid-fidelity wireframes. And if you guys don't know what mid-fidelity wireframes, how I like to use them, and the reason why I use them is because I wanna make sure we don't just put lorem ipsum inside for copy, and we don't just put placeholder gray squares for images when we're doing user testing. Because I've done that before, and I'm like, imagine that this is an actual picture, and imagine this content says this. It's hard for users to imagine who've never seen a low fidelity wireframe what it means. So I try to put enough images and enough copy that a user can actually give better feedback. So that's what we're doing today, and why we're doing that is because tomorrow we're going to be doing a user test. So, I'm going to take our wireframes today, and I'm going to do a user test with Ashley tonight, and tomorrow you're gonna get the results from that test, and we're gonna apply it to our high fidelity screens tomorrow. And then we're gonna do some prototyping. And we're actually gonna do a little prototyping today if we have the time, so we'll see. So that's what the schedule looks like today. Any other like thoughts or comments from anyone before we kind of get started?
Just shoot them away, and thank you for everyone that is commenting currently. Like Carlos gave us an idea of like what he did before. It was systems engineer, and like having that skill to then apply to like how are you going to UI UX, like that is like a huge way to like kind of stand out in your field, like because a lot of what we do is systems thinking and understanding the connections, and also thank you for like showing us like your process and like being able to like introduce that process. It's something that as designers we know that there's this big part, and being able to like share that is something that is really important, because that's how we get feedback and grow as designers, right? And doing that in front of people is even better.
Yeah, it's a little nerve wracking too. I'm like,
Right.
this is my process, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what do you guys think about it?
Yeah, and it would be great to know, like, if you do have a process, and like, have you ever done user research, and like, if you have questions about user research, and like, how do you formulate those questions in the questionnaires, and there's also the idea of like surveys, and like, what your opinion on how that works to
Yeah.
get maybe a pre-understanding before you deep
Yeah.
dive into like user research, right?
Yep.
But yeah, so also don't forget in 9 minutes we have the chat and win. We want you guys to just fire away on your keyboards. Make sure you're logged into the Behance chat room, because you can't comment until you do that. But once you're in there, you're able to potentially win a bunch of cool stickers. And
Stickers!
Yeah, and then if you don't win stickers, don't worry. There are other ways to get stickers at a really good rate, and so I'll give you some more information on that too.
If you guys see me squinting, by the way, it's because I'm trying to read the chat and I forgot my glasses. So if you see that, but I wanted to say to Justin, thank you for loving the schedule.
Yeah.
And thank you to a couple people just above that subscribed. I couldn't read their names because of my poor eyesight. I'm sorry, but thank you for subscribing. All right. So shall we get started on the heuristic evaluation, the judging of the current site?
Let's do it.
All right, I'm gonna ask you guys again to follow along. I mean, not to follow along, to give me your feedback as well. I'm gonna like ask you guys, what do you guys think? How would you wanna judge this site? So for me, the first thing that I'm looking at on this site is that logo. I don't know if you guys could even see it, but it says Children's Home Society of California. There's so much condensed into that area, it's hard to even read. And also there's no line spacing, it's all caps. It's really not it's not a logo that can translate well onto mobile or even on social media or anything like that. So we're definitely gonna be taking a look at that guy later. The other thing I'm noticing is that there's so many colors here in this navigation. I don't know what they want me to do as a user.
Yeah.
Like, where should I click? Where do I get help, here?
Right.
And there's no clear area of like services or programs or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to figure out where to go. Again, if you guys have anything that come up for yourself that when you're looking at this, please just chat it and let me know what your thoughts are. Okay, so here we're going into the apply for childcare assistance, because this is where I think that people do want to go, is they
Yeah.
want to get that assistance here. And it says apply for here, but when you're going on here, it's just a bunch of text. And it's really hard to just kind of want to dive in and read every single word on this page. And so we want to, what you should be doing is differentiating it with some imagery, with some bullet points, with some, bolding certain things that need to have
Yeah.
special attention to it. And the other thing here is like, what am I supposed to do now here? Like, there's no call to action here. So I'm like, okay, is it this? Learn more about eligibility. Okay. And now I'm in like an FAQ section.
Yeah.
Like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? There's no CTA here. And so the items are here on the left-hand side to apply.
Yeah.
And that's not a very good practice, because this over here is usually like a sub-menu on the left-hand side. It's not your
Sub-navigation.
call to action. Your call to action should be in the meat of your screen here. So that's kind of already confusing, right? I have to like go through 3-4 steps when I thought I was applying from that first step.
Right.
So now I'm looking here at these fields, and I'm like, oh my God, do I have to fill all this out? This is a really long form here. And when I look into it, it's like first name, last name, home phone, alternate. Do you really need all this information? Can you just
Right.
say full name and get my first and last name? Can we just say, first of all, who has a home phone anymore too? Like, just say phone number and just give me one field. Like,
Right.
I don't know, there's maybe like 20 things here. And so I want to ask the users, like, how many fields do you think is appropriate to have on this first page? You may have 40 fields, but do you want to expose all of them on that first
Right.
step? Like,
Yeah.
it's just gonna like, oh man, I'm so exhausted already just looking at the thing. I just
Totally.
want care, I need help, right?
Yeah. And there's also like, you have to repeat this for the second parent, right? So there's dual forms.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely like it's a lot of barrier to get to the people that you want to help, right?
Yes,
You wanna
totally.
reduce that barrier.
Yeah, do you even want help? Do you want to help these people when you have a form like this? That's how it feels,
Yeah,
right, as an
yeah.
end user. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're gonna watch the user test. So if you're just tuning in, I did a user test a few days ago with my friend Ashley. She's the one that looked at this site and told me, like, this site needs help, I can't use it, please help. And so I did a test with her to figure out her motivations, her goals, and I also showed her the site, did a little task analysis. And why I'm showing this to you guys is because I can't start really being I can't be the best designer I can be until I start talking to the end user.
Yeah.
And until I can start feeling empathy and understanding them.
Right.
And so I want everyone here or everyone watching to have that same understanding and that same empathy I feel as we go into that next step.
Because there's a big difference for, designing for somebody and designing with somebody, right? And when you design with people is when you create that empathy and are able to make impactful designs.
100%, 100%.
Michael Jensen brought up a really good point that sometimes the first and last is necessary to
Sometimes
separate
it is.
content in the data.
Yes.
Which can be, especially when you're dealing with a large
Company in a big
company.
CMS system.
Yeah.
I have this fight with companies all the time.
Yeah.
I go, do you really need it?
Right.
Like they're always like, oh, well, our sales team needs it, and it's easier for us
Yeah.
when we go into this
Right.
next step. I said, okay, great, it's easier for you, but is
Yeah.
it easier for the user? You have to kind of weigh that out, and sometimes maybe it's fine,
Right.
but you have to figure out for yourself if that's actually better for both parties or not.
Yeah, totally.
Because a lot of times I'm always fighting companies on what to put on that form. They're like, no, we need all that information. We really need it. I'm like,
Right.
it's already a lot to ask, like a couple things, you know?
You can totally get the first and last name through other means, like an email address. Like a lot of times we'll have that, and then when they reply, you have that information in your email.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But, you know, I totally understand that point. All right, so here is the user interview now. So what were your goals when you first landed on Children's Home Society?
Understanding of what services are and how to qualify for them. I guess I was hoping for maybe some assistance programs for care, because I know that's my biggest expense with two small children is being able to have affordable, quality care. So if they could help on the care aspect, wonderful. If they could help on any other aspects, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they have affordable food or reduced prices for things that maybe babies need, you know, that would have been great. So that was my hope.
Yeah, totally. Now, okay, so if you don't mind going to the site, what are your thoughts of this page that you're looking at? Is this what you expected to see?
To me, it seems like it's a little bit too much verbiage, personally. I'm not going to say, it sounds really bad. I'm not going to sit here and read all this. Like, I just kind of want to see a real quick bullet point summarization. That would be, I think, more appealing for someone like me who just wants very filtered information, if that makes sense.
Okay, what sort of information would you have liked to see here?
I would have liked to see eligibility, probably, like here, instead of off to the side in small. I would have liked to see services offered. And then I would have liked to see maybe an application, like a quick information capture box at the bottom for applying, you know? Just a little bit more accessible, more clean, and all just really in one spot.
So you would want to see like already some of the form on the screen to fill out the apply form?
Totally. It would be really convenient for me. Instead of like reading all this, deciding whether and having to click here, see if I'm eligible, then having to go back and click here and then an application. It's like, no, I would rather have it all on one page.
Anything else that you're thinking that you would like to have here? Information, visuals?
I guess maybe seeing like some like, hey, care providers we work with. Maybe seeing some imagery of like actual children instead of just a piggy bank, because yeah, I'm here to save some money maybe. I'm here to like collect on that benefit. But I'm also here, you know, for numero uno, and that's my kid. Instead of feeling like a kid when I land here with the colors, the primary color scale here, I don't want to feel like a kid. I want to help my kid. I want to be an adult. I want to feel like an adult. So
All right, everybody.
That's helpful.
30 seconds until the chat and win countdown. So what we want you to do is make sure you're logged into Behance and you're active in the page, and you're it's just kind of fire away whatever thoughts come to your head. If you have any great advice, maybe a funny joke, as long as it's appropriate, and being able to like just enter in whatever you can into that text box. That way you can get a chance to win 100 stickers from Sticker Mule, and we can't wait to see like who gets all this amazing bunch of stickers. I know I've been waiting for my stickers, and I need to hop on that soon because this is feeling a little naked. I got this cool one here recently too. It's a little tape deck.
I like it.
So yeah, log in, and it's time to find out who's going to be that lucky winner to get all those stickers. But don't worry if you don't win, because you can go on to Sticker Mule's website and you can benefit by getting 100 stickers for $1 a sticker. Wait, no, that's not right. It's a lot less than that. 10 stickers for $1. If you go to stickermule.com/Adobe Live 19, and you can then get that deal as well. So there you go. The chat, you gotta get in there on the chat so you can win. Let's see, look at how. We're back and we got a winner. Let's see who got the drum roll.
Who's the winner?
It's a sticky situation. 100 stickers for $10 or 10 stickers for $1. That's the other alternative if you didn't win. So let's see who. Are we gonna get? Yeah, we're gonna get a winner. Look at that. This is what we want to see. Right?
Okay, come on, chat it up. Chat it up. Who's gonna win?
Mine are still in transit. By the way, we'd still want to know where all of you are coming in from. Where are these comments coming from? They just seem like they're coming from the nebulous.
Where are you from?
Yeah, where are you
I'm
at?
from Los Angeles.
I'm
Where
from
are you
LA
from?
too, so we got
We
LA
got
love
some
here.
two LAers in here, but we're in San Francisco right now.
Hi, Fatima.
Boom pop. I like that. Boom pop.
Boom pop. Who's gonna get the stickers? Oh, Ernest Spencer got the stickers. Look at that.
Ernest
Congratulations.
Spencer.
I wanna
Stickers
see
coming your way.
Your desktop completely like flooded with stickers.
Yes.
Yeah, making it rain stickers in Dallas, Texas.
All right, Dallas, Texas. Whoop whoop. Minneapolis. Hey.
So go to Sticker Mule if you want to get another sweet deal. Stickermule.com/Adobe Live 19, and you get a great deal on stickers there, so you can deck out your water bottles and whatever you want. They're really fun. So we're going to continue back with Elise's case study on this form right now is what we're looking at, but basically doing evaluation of this site to address some of the ways to impact change and get it to a place where the users actually have a place where they can feel like it's a knowledgeable space, a space that they can go to, and also people in this situation are busy, and we have to acknowledge that when people come to our sites, especially a site that's not for profit, is we want to be able to get them to where they want to go as quickly as possible.
Yes.
And that way we can continue serving them or they can serve us. So it's
Yes.
Reciprocity is what we're looking for this experience.
Yeah, we want to streamline that experience, especially if you guys were listening to that video, she's like dealing with a lot. She's a mom of 2 and she's working, and she's like, I just need to like find some assistance. I want to find help right now. And when you just create all these roadblocks, and they're not intentionally creating these roadblocks through this design, they're just unaware, it really starts to become disheartening for somebody, right? So that's why she reached out. So that's what we just listened to her user interview. And now what we're going to be doing is, or I'm just going to let you know what I've done, is I took all these fields and I put them in this document here. So I put them all here and I started to decipher, okay, this could be changed to full name. This is obviously, again, I didn't talk to the business here, so I'd have to make sure with them that this is all good with them. But instead of, these 2 phone numbers, home phone number, from home phone number to just phone number.
Yeah.
I got rid of things that I thought were unnecessary. For the addresses, instead of having all these fields, I just want to change it to like a field where we can input the Google API and just have like some autocomplete where they could just have the address field there. Okay. Stuff like that. So that's what I've done. And so then after that, what I do is I go into user flows. So in here, I'm just gonna walk you through the flow. Is they're gonna go from the home page, which we saw, to the apply for assistance page.
Yeah.
And from there, we're gonna just start already asking them eligibility questions. So I pulled out 3 things that I think are what helps us decide whether or not they are actually eligible before they start filling out all their information and wasting their time filling that whole application and submitting it. Like first, am I eligible even based on my circumstances? So this is like my guess on the things that I think can for us to figure out whether they're qualified or not. not.
Yeah.
So I have these 3 questions on that landing page, and then we're gonna figure out like if they're eligible, yes, then like let's get their parent details, child details, and final review. And again, I've like gone through and shortened all those pieces.
And we've all been there, right? Where you go through this form, you fill it out, and then like you're not even qualified for it. So then all that time
Yes.
you've wasted is
Yeah, that's
kinda
nothing
like
more
gone.
frustrating than
It's
that.
very frustrating. So thank you for
Yes.
being mindful of that.
Yeah, well, what I also want to say here is like, let's say they do go through this and you're not eligible.
Yeah.
Well, do we just stop the flow there? Do we say, okay, sorry, no?
Right.
You know, is that it? Or is there another step we can take and something else we can offer them, right?
That's great.
So actually, I want to ask the viewers or ask you, like, what are some other things that we can do here instead of just saying, no, you're not eligible? What if we can't offer them anything, what else can we do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, for me off the top, I'm thinking maybe you can like give them a way to get correspondence and like learn why, right? Is there a way to learn what is disqualifying me, or how can like a follow-up question be asked to qualify me? To maybe there's a step I can take to be qualified, right?
Yeah, I like that. Any other thoughts here?
Yeah.
So user friendly. Okay, well, I'm going to say something else too is that I would think that if I can't provide resources, is there another program or another company that you know of that you can say, hey, you can check out these different sites or
great too.
these other places and maybe you can get help here? Because even if you think about it, like when you're at a store, let's say, and you're like, hey, where are the, you know, the rolls? And they're like, sorry, we don't have any rolls here. But if they were like, but down the street, there is a place that you might be able to get some rolls. You're like, okay, great. Like you at least have some like, you feel good about that interaction regardless.
right.
So that's kind of what we're doing
There
here.
are other options, right? You want to have other options as far as like where can you go in the event that you don't qualify here, right?
Yeah,
I love that.
exactly, exactly. All right, give them more details about why and how they can qualify. Yeah, definitely. Like, how can I qualify? Maybe they put some wrong information in, like somewhere in the monthly income or something like that. Maybe they can re-look at that and
great.
fill it out differently. So thank you for that. Referrals, that's really wonderful. Alternative NFP, I don't know what that is.
Not for profit.
Oh, NFP. So great. Yeah, that's really wonderful. Thank you for those suggestions.
Those are really great. Yeah, thank you for the community just helping us out.
Yes, it's all about, you know, I never design alone usually. Like I always at least have one other person that I work with. If you're
I'm with you
designing
on that.
alone, like it's so difficult,
It is.
you know, it's
It
hard to
is.
be that creative on your own.
Yeah.
So like
Open source design. Like I think this is where we need to like appreciate it. You know, if you don't have a partner to do it with, maybe you can outsource it and,
Totally.
and have other ways to get feedback.
Totally.
Right?
I try my best to like comment on different Facebook groups with people who are like, this is a design, can I get feedback?
Yeah.
I'm always like, yes, let me give you feedback. Because
Yeah.
it's like, you're vulnerable to put yourself out there like
Right.
that. All right, so now we're gonna get into sketching. So what I do is I'm just showing you my notebook. So after I do a user interview, I review the tapes and I listen back to it. And then I just write down all the things she said she wanted. She wanted to have the eligibility on that same page. She wanted service bullet points. She wanted the care providers, etc. So I list them all out here. And then the other thing I put on here is I did like a really little competitive analysis here, and I was looking at sites that parents use. And so I looked at this this site, which is for a private school. And something I liked about this was this little social media carousel here, because it makes them just seem like they're like more
active.
community driven, they're active. And Ashley had an issue with this current site. She's like, I don't even know if this is a legitimate site when she was looking at it. So I think that this would help make it feel a little bit more legitimate.
Right, because like that's another thing about like attaching yourself to an organization is like the credibility.
Yeah,
and knowing that who you are, you know, spending your time with
Yes.
is a place that is like a safe space and legitimate place, right?
You don't want to put like all your information to a black hole
Right.
that goes nowhere and you don't know who it's going to or what's
Yeah,
going to happen with it,
'Cause
right?
you have no idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. And so having an Instagram is kind of like another layer of like, yes, we are a legitimate source.
Yeah.
We have a community and people are active and posting. And
Mm-hmm.
that's, I think, it's a really strong thing to do for a behavioral standpoint from like approaching a web page.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Thank you. So another site I looked at was this Urban Sitter site because they have care providers here. They have their face, their name. They even have this like little play button to watch a video. So I really liked that and wanted to maybe see if we could translate that into our designs as well. So, where did I
Yeah, and
lose
people are still like talking about like some of their struggle with people refusing to read. That's Joe. That's a really good comment, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of these organizations struggle with, is like there is a lot of information and they're very passionate, and there are ways to convey your messages with like photos and like videos, and like if you're able to produce that kind of content, that's great. But some of those are really, really great suggestions, and like being able to bridge that is great.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so so then what I do is I list all the things that I want to have on this page, and then I number them. I number them in order of what the user would want to see. So I put, okay, eligibility is the first thing she wants to see, maybe services, then care providers, and so on. So after that, that's when I go into sketching. So obviously, like for me, what sketching means is like you're drawing or writing things, drawing out on pieces of paper on a whiteboard, and nobody can understand like what your sketch is about besides yourself. That's kind of how I feel. So you guys are probably like, what is that? So here's like a hero. Here is like where I'm going to ask the first eligibility question. Here are services. Care providers here, the testimonial, another maybe like CTA, like am I eligible, and then FAQ questions. This is also something I wanted to put. They have FAQ questions if you saw like on their current site over here.
Yeah.
But it's like on another page. So we're gonna put it on this page, okay? And then the last thing is the social media carousel. I didn't have room, so I just, just said social media carousel.
That's good.
And then I just mapped out what the next screens are gonna look like in my sketches. So I have like the parent details, I have the child details, the final review, and like the confirmation, like you're placed. So I'm just gonna use these sketches as we go into wireframes. And put them side by side next to my mid-5 wireframes.
Right, it's really helpful to do that too. And if people out there aren't using some sort of approach like this, I do recommend it, because being tangible with your ideas and putting them on paper are a really good way to just flesh out some of those like really simple ideas. But then as you move into a design space, you're able to then like have a lot more fodder for what you're thinking about, and then you have contextual understanding of like what it is that you want to make, and also like creating a little design system for yourself with some reusable patterns that you might have made is something that I highly recommend as well. When we're designing experiences here at Adobe, we benefit from having design systems, and that's something that I really believe in is having reusable elements, reusable components that you're able to integrate into your design, whether it's a drop-down, whether it's a navigation panel, whether it's buttons, or all of these things are just like things that we sometimes don't need to recreate.
Yeah, so actually to that point, I always have like this wireframe component library for myself that I just apply to any initial wireframe that I'm doing, so I don't have to recreate these pieces, and then I'll just redesign them when I go into high fidelity. It's just so I can plop things in real quick, especially in this wireframing stage. I'm not worrying about like, spacing or anything like that. I'm just plopping it in, just trying to get it done as quickly as possible, trying to be very lean with it.
Yeah.
So what I'm actually gonna do first is I'm gonna go into my assets, my cloud documents, and I'm going to bring in all of those character styles, those components into here.
Really a great time-saving feature. Also really great for collaborating. So if this isn't something that you've tried to attempt with others while designing, either with someone that's going to be helping you out on the engineering side, or someone that is also co-designing with you, being able to link assets is something that we really, really love to do to create cohesive environments where all of your styles cascade across different design files. And if they're updated and saved, you can easily bring them back into the document that you're working on. So like this is, and someone was saying like, eek, kind of like on the Excel spreadsheet. I actually really appreciate having structure like an Excel spreadsheet, because it's a great way to organize your stuff, your information, and kind of like keep track of it too, because there's great versioning tools in Excel, and you can actually, like, if you accidentally delete something, you can remember what it is. And also, it's a great place to keep copy. That way you can have everything kind of easily, all your information is in sync and you don't lose it. And it's also something that you can, if you have an organization that you're working with, and you can also have them collaborate on the copy. If they want to make copy, there's a way for you to share a good place to share where it is you're having that copy. And there's another question I had for you, Elise, is around like plugins, and if there anything that you use in terms of plugins to like help you get content from the web, and because like or like how do you get assets from companies that you're working with?
How do I get assets?
Like imagery or...
Yeah, so sometimes I just use it, go through their Dropbox or
They'll
what
send you
have
the
you,
link.
and they'll send me that link.
Yeah.
Is for the most part what I get. And actually, so the reason why I like to use Google Sheets is because if I'm working with a content writer, we usually want to have something that all of us can access at the same time, so I
Yeah.
can give them notes and feedback on. And the other thing is, like I said, again, like if I'm using Repeat Grid through Adobe XD, it's so useful to just plop in the plugin for Google Sheets here.
Right.
It makes it just so much more easier to plop that information in quickly.
Yeah, and while you design, I would actually love to show you a plugin that I use.
Yeah.
That kind of can maybe bridge the gap between like being able to have access to a Dropbox file is really a cool thing to do. So let's if we could hop over to my desktop, I can show you this really cool plugin that I like to use. There's actually a couple of them, so this is a great opportunity for me to show plugins.
Yeah.
That's something that I do, is working on plugins is something that I've been really expanding my mind as far as like how do you use patterns in the plugin panel. There's a lot of great products out there. So this one's called Mimic. So if you aren't familiar with it, check out Mimic, and what you can do is I actually just went to this website, which is the one that Elise is currently doing a redesign on. And you just copy the URL, and then you're able to paste it, and you can extract. And what this does is it gives you basically like a design system, and it's pretty automated. So you have the fonts that are being used and the alternate fonts that they're using, but you also get their color palette, which is really cool because as we could see, they do use a wide range of colors, which is a good thing, but sometimes too many colors can be a little overkill. As you could see, they're using a couple different oranges and yellows, and that's okay. It's just a matter of like how you're applying those. But another cool thing is that they actually give you all the images. So then you can get all of that imagery that you want, and you kind of have it here. So it might not be like the highest fidelity, but if you are doing a mock-up, you can make it a lot more realistic if you have actual real content that you're working with. So there's another one I'd like to share is, and we'll see how this one works out. It's a plugin slash it's an extension slash plugin. So this one is not, looks like it's okay. Yeah, there we go. And I'll show you the name of this in a second. So this right here is called Extract Design, and Extract Design basically it strips the web content from the page, and then you're able to use their plugin, Design Importer, and you just basically paste in what you copied from the web extension and import. And so this plugin is, it's called, let me get it for you again, so you can have it. I think it's really powerful and really cool. It's called Extract Design, and it is by developers here at Adobe. And so what we're able to do is use it as an extension. You copy, once you hit that, and then you pay this little icon, and you can right-click it to extract the design. And then what it does is just copies all the JSON, which is, the JSON's like the meat and potatoes of the design. And then you're able to, like I showed you, just paste it in this little box and import. And so it actually renders a little bit more high quality. It is a little off, so everything's not perfect, but it does give you a sense of what this page is made out of, so you can redesign those. So if anybody has questions about like plugins and stuff like that, definitely like ask them on the chat. I'm happy to answer questions about like the plugins that I use. I really love like being able to have like a lot of those assets up front so you don't have to bug people for assets, because sometimes that can be quite a pain. It might, and even like a lot of times when you're getting logos from companies, sometimes they don't give you the best quality. So this is at least a way to get the quality that's on their website. So then you don't have to just like right click everywhere on the page and get it. So I really, really do want to encourage exploration of plugins, and just like some of the ones I use they're kind of all over the place. I'm still kind of exploring which ones I like and love. Like I do really value the ability to have like accessibility colors. So when we're talking about colors, we'll be able to show that off as well. Howard Pinsky's in the house. Have you met Howard yet?
I have met Howard.
Look at
Hey, Howard.
So yeah, Jesse asked what was the plugin again? So the plugin, I showed 2 plugins right now. One of them is dependent on a Chrome extension, so you actually do have to install the extension first. It's called Extract Design, and it installs like a little icon here. You just extract it there by right-clicking, and then once you have the JSON code, you're able to put it into another plugin that's called InDesign Importer. So it's a combo. Not all plugins require dependency combos like that, but this one does. But as you can see, it actually does give you quite a bit of information on your page. Like I said, it's not all perfect, but it's a good starting ground for you to get your designs going. The other one I showed was Mimic, and this is pretty standard. You can find it in the plugin store, and what they do is they basically are able to extract content from the design on the web, but they break it out into a little bit differently. They use more of a design system approach, so you can reuse those assets as you see fit. So yeah, that's kind of my advice on getting content quickly. There's no harm in doing things quicker and saving yourself some time. I think that's something that what we really appreciate as far as communities that are building plugins for XD is it's just a way for us to enhance the way we work and how to improve our workflow. So that's definitely like something that I like to implore is use the plugins, because they're only getting better, and with more designers like yourself out there, you can also make your own plugins. So that's something that if you're interested in.
I've never tried that. I'd like to.
There is a lot of documentation on the web, and I highly recommend exploring what you can do in the plugin panel and with other plugins as well. So like just to show you a few more, you can put icons in your designs. So these are really great. So if you search like let's do charity. So like charity is something icons you could search, and you can then pull up a family if it decides that it wants to search. But yeah, well, you get the idea. You have a whole bunch of icons here that you can then use.
That's
and apply your
cool.
designs.
Icons do take me a little while to like download, figure out, or design or whatever. So.
And some of these packs do require some money, to subscribe to. You can subscribe to them, or you can actually just buy them in bulk. But there's other ways to save time in your design, especially if you're prototyping.
Yeah.
So we can jump over to Elise's display to see what she's got going on.
Yeah.
She's already done quite a bit.
Yeah, I've been working away over here like a little work elf. So
Work
what?
smarter, not harder.
So just kind of to give you what I've been doing is I put an image right here in the hero just to have something with a child, because Ashley said she didn't like having that piggy bank that was on this screen here. She wanted to see actual pictures of children. So I put that right up front and center. And then I have here like find out if you're eligible right away with a nice large drop down, figure out what's your reason for needing care. She can do that and move on. Or if she wants, she can gather more information and go into the services. And so in here, I've just laid out this information that was in here. If you remember this guy, ooh, it's an eyesore, right?
Yeah, a lot of
Instead, what I did is I put it in bullet points. This program pays for all or part of your child expenses if you are these things. So it just clearly lays it out. And then I put here CalWORKs, and I also put here a little tooltip, like what is CalWORKs? Some people may not even know what that is. So I put a little bit of information there about CalWORKs. And then now what I'm actually doing is I'm just gonna use the drag and drop feature where you can just drag in an image just like so. It's my favorite thing to do. I like, sometimes I make sound effects. I'm like, doo, boop.
Oh, have you
Yeah.
have you done the repeat grid? And then
Oh, yeah.
And then so if you repeat grid and then
Yes.
you drop all 3, it just like cascades them. It's amazing.
Yes, I will show that actually when I do childcare. I'm going to do a
cool.
little repeat grid drag action. And actually, I feel like there should be a plugin for making sounds. Like it'll make sounds for you.
Right. Once XD is able to have sound, it will be amazing.
That will be my plugin. Like
Yes.
well,
Will you
that's
have
what I'm
a
going
bunch
to
of
work on. Like,
sound
and it'll
drops?
be my voice like whoop.
Sound drops. And then you can like edit them. And,
Yeah,
I
wouldn't
love
that be
it.
cool? Especially
Oh.
like repeat grid, especially when there's a new XD feature. You like, whoa. That'd be awesome.
Like having our designs make sound effects. It would be yeah, it would be killer. And I can't wait for sound and you know, the future possibility of having video and having at least GIFs, right?
I would
GIFs.
love that. So next section here is meet our care providers. Ashley said she wants to see who would be, you know, taking care of her child perhaps. So we're gonna like meet some people here, and this is where we're gonna use some repeat grid here. I'm going to place this, just a circle here.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna have some text, and I'm just going to label this person like Susan. Oh, it's all white. Susan Joseph. It's a weird name, but you know. Susan Joseph, and we're gonna say that she's had like 6 years of experience, because that always makes a parent feel good.
Right.
And then I'm gonna say she's like in Long Beach. Because like just knowing where someone's located might make you feel like they're a real person.
Right, of course.
So then what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to center that. I'm gonna make just their name bold here. And then I'm going to group these guys and I'm gonna use that repeat grid. Whoop, whoop. It's my other favorite feature. Let's just do about this. Let's make some spacing here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my folder. I'm going to go into care providers, and I'm just gonna drag in these headshots here. Boom!
Oh, magic.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, and then you know, 'cause since there's 4 fields, there's 4, you know, there's 5 fields and 4 pictures. It's gonna repeat the first one, and that's okay though. We can just always edit that out.
Yeah, because I just think I would want to not have more than like probably 4 people
Yeah.
on here, and then they can kind of scroll through. So maybe what I'm gonna do actually then is I'm just gonna have like the little arrows here for the carousel. And I'm just gonna make this one like 50% or 40% appearance so that you know you can't go left, and then center that piece there.
Right.
All right, so now where are we at? We did the services, we got the eligibility, she's got the care providers, and now what we wanna do is the testimonial. You know, we wanna make her feel like
Right.
there's people that she can relate to out there.
That's totally right.
That are using this service. So I'm gonna say testimonial, and then I'm just gonna make a, you know, just have this rectangle here, and then I'm gonna drag in a image here. Doo-doo. And make it so that feels, look at the mom with her child. She just wants to get
Yeah.
care. You know, you feel good.
It's already looking like something, right? Like
It's already looking like something. Yeah, this is like a mid-fi,
Yeah,
right?
mid-fi.
It's not like, wow, this is
Right.
beautiful. There's no
you're
colors.
getting the content down, you're getting the structure down.
Yes.
And that's the important part of the experience is making sure this stuff is at least in the right order. You can get feedback on this, and sometimes if you put too much polish on it in this phase, people can tend to get distracted by it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's actually good to kind of ease up on like the fancy typefaces and any style that you give it. You want to kind of like leave that for a little bit later, because there's gonna be more time to make it more visually appealing as you go, but you want to make sure that the structure is where it needs to be. And you know, also like using your predefined character styles like is super important. That way you want to have character styles that aren't just like all over the place throughout your whole experience. You definitely want to stick to your semantic hierarchy with your heading classes, and making sure you're not like creating too many headings that are similar or overlapping. So definitely pay attention to the type of styles you're using on your text. Right? Would you say that like how many different typefaces would you use on an experience? Right? You don't want to like have
I do
so
about
many.
42
Oh,
is
that's-
like
yeah, that's
the
a good
good
number.
amount. That's like my magic number.
I like anything above 40.
I just think that would kind of be a fun project, actually, to try and use 42 typefaces.
Yeah,
that could be a fun. I actually like to do this challenge for myself. If I'm stumped on what to do with my design, like I'm like I've tried everything, like it just doesn't look good. I do this like do the ugliest design you can do challenge to myself, where I just like let myself go crazy with the design.
Have you heard of brutalism?
No.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
What's that? Okay.
Okay, so,
and
yeah.
So then what I do from that is I start to spark new ideas within myself because I just let myself be so super expansive and be like ether. And I have like really cool ideas sometimes. Like what's really fun is when I've shown this to new designers and they've done it and like shown like something really cool that they did that came out of that exercise. Sometimes you don't get anything, but it's just kind of fun to like.
It's a great exercise.
Just to do it for yourself.
Yeah, and so like what I was asking if she knows. So brutalism is a form of architecture, but there is a movement like a year or two ago called Brutalist Designs, and they're just like intentionally bad experiences that are like kind of like what you're saying, like a way for like people to say like, hey, like there's a status quo, we're gonna break it.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily endorsing you to like publish those websites, but I think the challenge of creating, kind of stepping outside of that, like this has to be perfect and this has to like be the best looking thing ever, is like just kind of like break that cycle, and creating 42 typefaces is a great way to do it, and at least some of them are going to be Comic Sans, right? Like Comic Sans bold and Comic Sans.
Yeah.
Italicized.
Actually, you know, Chris Do, this designer, he actually has this challenge that he asked his designers to do, which is to use typefaces like Comic Sans and actually make something beautiful out of it.
Yeah.
And he showed the designs that came out of that one, and I forgot what else there was, maybe papyrus or something. But and they actually used it in a way that was really awesome and really cool. So it's like, you know what? Nothing is ugly. You can can do whatever you want. Don't let that limit you.
Yeah, and I love how there's this sub conversation happening in the thread with Howard about animations, because his animations are pretty stellar. If you haven't taken a look at them, I highly recommend you do that. But yeah, auto animations in XD is totally amazing and totally awesome, and you can do some really, really cool things with it. And it's very visually understandable, so you can really map out what your animations are doing with auto animate. And that's something that we won't do in this segment, but it's very possible once we get into like the prototyping part of it, is like how can we introduce micro animations, and although also Elise is using the Google Sheets plugin, which plug to the plugins.
Plug to the plugins.
Is really cool because you can actually use live data, and so like what we want to do is like reduce the amount of time it takes to do some of these things. So using things like Repeat Grid and also using the Google Sheets plugin to get some of that data into there. And maybe she'll throw Comic Sans in there. So that's something that is an option.
It feels so good every time it goes in, and I don't have to like. It's just for me. Something that I'm always trying to work on is how can I do things faster? How can I do things
Increase
faster,
workflow.
right? And so this has really helped me to streamline my experience.
Can you show how you did that one more time for the audience if you missed it? This is a really, really cool feature of XD, having the ability to use plugins in a place like Google Sheets.
Yeah. So I just am going to make this, now I'm going to make it a repeat grid here. And then I'm just going to, I think I have 5 FAQs here. And then I make sure that this is labeled FAQ because in my document here, this column is labeled FAQ. So instead of me going individually and copying and pasting each individual one, I'm gonna go into the plugins and then paste my public link, continue, and then map it out FAQ. Yep, that looks good. And then I'm gonna just drag it in there. No, didn't work. Sometimes I find-
It did work, and then sometimes when attention is on it, it doesn't want to work.
Yeah, it's camera shy, I guess.
But we will see it. It'll happen. And so the misunderstanding of Comic Sans is definitely in the chat. And also, I think the same goes for Papyrus. We all know the famous movie that kind of used Papyrus. Who knows that? If anybody knows that.
What is that?
The famous movie that used Papyrus in their logo. I bet you Howard Pinsky knows that one. That's something that like he would totally know. And I'm gonna wait until someone answers it. But if not, I'll tell you.
Yeah, tell us.
What else is happening in the chat? Avatar, there, Voodoo Val won. I don't have stickers to give you, but Michael Jensen knows it too. Avatar used papyrus, and they're very, very famous for doing that. It did work. I saw it work.
Yeah, you saw it work.
I did. And I'm sorry that I put you on the spot to see it not work, but it did work. And it totally was awesome. And
sometimes I find like I just have to play with it once or twice again, and like.
And this is something that we're also like experiencing with some plugins, that they're a little bit, they're new, and sometimes getting used to like the way they operate is a little challenging at times.
I'm gonna try one more time,
Yeah.
and if not, I'm gonna give up and move on to the next thing, and I'll come back to this guy.
So Howard says, I found that groups throw off the Google Sheet plugin sometimes.
Huh?
That groups sometimes throw off the Google Sheets plugin. So if you're trying to apply it to a group, maybe that is something that might be causing it, which is very, very logical, I guess.
Stop being logical.
I know.
Gosh, I do need some help here. Maybe I need some logic help here. Yes!
There it goes.
Thank you.
Look at Howard with the save.
Did I like make a group in between? Okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know how
all
that
right,
happened.
FAQs here. So now we got some testimonials, we got the FAQs, and now we're gonna move into just the social media carousel, and that's going to be it. And again, like I said, if you're just tuning in, this is a mid-fi wireframe. This is not supposed to be beautiful. And I encourage you to not try to make anything beautiful. And I actually don't like to worry about spacing at this point at all, because it changes so much, because I go through an iterative process. I make this like a different size font later down the road, and then I have to like redo all the spacing once again. I try to like make sure it's just move. When you get into high fidelity, now worry about making it really pretty. At this point, make it good enough to do user testing, because we're gonna do that user testing tonight.
Yeah.
Which I'm really excited. User testing is one of my favorite things to do. I'm like, talk to the people.
Me too.
Make it better.
100% agree that user testing is, you can make a lot of really fun activities in user testings too. Like, you don't always have to stick to the script, and it's a way for you to like take all that learning and synthesize it, and you can make like really fun graphs out of it, and experience maps. Once you have all that information, distilling it into like something like an experience map can give you like a lot of good growing information about what you're working on. And doing that initial research is also just essential for you to understanding the problem that you're dealing with and the people that are having it. And how are you gonna address it in a way that is important. And so like having the knowledge of user research, if you haven't learned it, definitely like check out Elise's work and follow her on all her platforms, and she'll give you all of that information as you grow.
Follow me everywhere.
Just follow her everywhere. Yeah. And that,
I will say I use this plugin quite a bit, is like for Lorem Ipsum. I'll use this. We're not doing much Lorem Ipsum today, but sometimes I will just plug in, fill it with placeholder text here, and it drags that in. And I think
space.
that's I think that's kind of sometimes very helpful for me if I'm at a very low wireframe stage.
Right. That's totally true. And thank you, Voodoo Val, for reposting Elise's website. Definitely go there.
Oh, hey.
If you have more questions.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I like Voodoo Val. What does that mean, I wonder?
You know, it's up to Voodoo.
Yeah,
you
Voodoo,
know?
explain. What does that mean? I like the name.
I like, Val, and I think a play on the V. I kind of get where you're going. I'm really, really just appreciating the love for this papyrus thread. If any movie, I would think they would use papyrus in some kind of Egyptian or mummy movie. Maybe the Avatar was not the right setting for it.
Whoa, okay, if you guys saw that, I did repeat grid, I did ungroup stuff, and that's why it worked. I got all my social media posts. So I actually went onto their social media, and I took in some pictures that they posted on their Twitter, and then I just took in some of the description that they had there, because it just makes them feel more real, right? Like when I see like, oh, look at this event that they're doing, look at these people that they're helping, like I really start to build a connection with this brand and this company. And so I'm actually done with this first screen,
that's great.
we can, if you just are tuning in, we did a heuristic evaluation. We evaluated the current site where this whole business came from. This is the before. And we did a sketching session where we we figured out all the things that the user wanted on the screen, and then we did a flow, and now we're here at this screen. So now the next screens that I'm going to be doing is after you click this drop down, you're gonna go into the next eligibility question, and I'm gonna leave it so that the user is still in this screen. They don't have to like go anywhere else. They're just gonna be able to go from here. So I'm just gonna like copy and basically paste another one here. And then I'm just gonna ask the second question here. So when we go into prototyping like tomorrow, you click an option and it'll just like slide in the next screen here.
Yeah.
You know, I can't help but start to think about what those interactions are gonna look like.
Of course, yeah. You can't help it.
I can't help it.
That's just and sometimes the way you just position your artboards can set you up for that, right? It's like this comes after this. So the way you arrange your artboards on your document is just a way for you to also keep organized. But then you can, when you wire up your prototypes, you kind of like see the logical flow of like what happens first and what happens second. And also just want to remind that in roughly 20 minutes, we have the design feedback, and that's where we're kind of look at other people's work at your work. If you have submitted anything, if you haven't submitted anything, please do that. There have been new additions since we've last checked, and I just want to see more stuff there so we can have more to choose from and just appreciate some of the really cool stuff that's there. And so that's the creative challenge from that we can't wait to see the work from. So
yes, I love reviewing and looking at new work.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do actually. And sometimes some things I do is sometimes I'll go to General Assembly and they have their new designers, like they just want portfolio feedback, and it's like something I actually love doing is like seeing what new designers are doing and working through their portfolio and hopefully helping them try to make it better.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah, keep that, and also like places like General Assembly are good, just a good place to like if you want to like get an intensive on UX, like it's a great place to go, and it has great opportunities that will lead you out of it. But you know, also like there's tons of great resources online for you to learn about this stuff, like following Elise. But what I've noticed are places like that you wouldn't expect, like Instagram. Like there's tons of people that share their design inspiration, not only inspiration, but like some tips and tricks. And there's obviously we have Adobe Live that you can always come to.
Yeah.
But there's tons of resources out there. You have like LinkedIn Learning now it is, right? Like,
oh, what's that?
It's like the new Lynda, but now that you know LinkedIn is kind of the new boss in town on that. You have a new platform for all sorts of learning, and then there's tons of literature that you can always get. I don't have all the literature on me right now to refer you, but I'm sure you can collect a massive of literature that can teach you some more stuff. But
yeah, maybe people have on here that they can
yeah,
chat.
if you can
like,
recommend.
How do you learn?
Yeah, how did you learn? Like, what's your best what's your best way for you to learn about UX, and what's your place to get inspiration? I think is also like another thing. Udemy is also a really great place. We know that Behance is one of like one of our favorites. We like to appreciate some of those designs that are there as well. And so just a reminder, in 17 minutes we're gonna do the design crit and just kind of look at some of your, not crit, I don't want, that's a little bit too formal. We're gonna give more feedback, and that's gonna be submitting to Discord. And so if you saw that link that Voodoo Val posted, actually, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Behance.net challenge XD. So that's where we're gonna, that's where you can see the challenges and you can take part in the challenges, and that's on Behance. So make sure to click that link, and then you can also access it in the chat too. So you can see what's going on there. And it looks like it's growing, and I can't wait to see where Elise goes with this, but also where these submissions on Discord, there's really some cool ones that are popping up. So I can't wait to show everybody out those. Let's see, and then we have so just a reminder is the challenge for today's challenge is designing an exercise class schedule assistant that can be viewed on both mobile and web, and that is using the responsive resize to speed up your workflow. And I know responsive resize really helps out to be able to scale your components, to create scalable components, and that way that you can scale those to a mobile or an iPad. And I'm sure a lot of you are using that tool already because it's really great. But it's something that if you haven't used, is really powerful. So that's the creative challenge, is designing an experience for a exercise class scheduling assistant that can be viewed on both mobile and web. So we're gonna review that in 15 minutes.
Woohoo.
Actually, no, we're gonna review the one from the previous day. This is today's challenge. So if you want to challenge yourself, you're gonna do the exercise class. So it seems really simple, but that is a really complex thing. I have a Peloton at home, and that thing, the UI on that is great, and I think a lot of work goes into it. And just being able to design an experience like that is a really, really great challenge for yourself.
So actually what I'm gonna be doing, let me get rid of this for now. I'm gonna put a navigation in here later. I'm actually just gonna prototype this, just a really quick prototype just to get it prepared for the user testing tomorrow. And actually tonight, I'm not gonna make all the drop-down fields and everything, all the filled in screens today while we're on this show right now, but what I am gonna do is just show how easy it is for me to prototype. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just click this, put that onto this screen, and I'm gonna just have like no animation, nothing right now, just make it really simple, just so that the user can click through this whole experience.
Yeah.
And actually, while I'm doing this, I realized like I don't have a back button, so maybe she filled this out and she doesn't want to go, she wants to go back to this screen. When I prototype in low fidelity mode, it helps me realize what's missing from the screens. So I'm gonna just drag in this guy here. So what I'm gonna do is,
I'm pacing, lovely.
I hear myself.
I just posted the link if you guys wanted to see that. It's the link to that plugin that was being asked in the chat. So that way you have that so you can check it out. It's really cool. Sorry.
That's all right. And so I'm just actually gonna put a back button on all these screens here. So they can always go back. And then again, I'm just gonna then continue prototyping from here to here. And then I wanna go back to this screen I wanna go back here.
Yeah.
Here I'm gonna come to here, this I'm gonna go back. And then what I'm gonna do is have this go into this screen, which is gonna be your application form. So let's see how this is going so far. Let's see. So, if I'm looking here, I'm like, okay, I wanna, imagine there's a drop down, I'm gonna create it in a little bit. You go into the drop down, and then you're gonna go into this screen. And so then you can go back if you want to.
Yep, that's really great. And to be able to do that so rapidly is just amazing.
Oh my gosh,
right?
that's what I mean. Like, this has changed the game for me. Like, to do it all in one tool, dragging the images, dragging the content, get this prototype going within, like, I guess 30, 40 minutes here, and then be able to test this right away. That's a game changer,
is,
right?
yeah.
The faster you start testing, the better results you're gonna get, the better your design is gonna be. And so, again, like, that's why I don't worry about making it beautiful at this point. Get it going, get that feedback. And also, this is great for when I start showing stakeholders too. Like, they start to see the strategy sessions that we've done start to get implemented into the design right away. And they're like, oh wow, she moves fast. She's a fast worker.
Yep.
And then I'm like, yes, I am. And it makes me look good, right? You wanna like be a fast worker, and you let them know, like, this isn't beautiful, this isn't what it's about. This is about flow, function, making sure your strategy is implemented into this design. Is it? Yes. Let's move on to the next step.
Yeah.
So,
and it gives them a chance to like also like collect themselves and know that like, all right, this is the track we want to go. And like if they have like new messaging that they're working on, it kind of lights a fire under them to make sure they give you any content and copy that they want to have. Obviously, they don't want to derail your progress and your work, but it's definitely, it lights up any stakeholders or anybody you're designing for to just kind of continue their end, because it's not just a one-sided thing when you design for somebody else. Like a lot of times there is stuff that you ask for and you request, and to be able to see them to see you executing, they're able to then execute their work. And that's sometimes like I've been stalled on projects where you're kind of waiting for assets, or that's why that plugin I showed you is really cool, so you can collect assets from people's websites without them. But sometimes there's other like messaging and like copy that like they're like, hey, like hold off on that copy. It's like, well, provide the copy and we can work together to make it to be more cohesive. And these environments, like really quick, rapid prototypes, are just really helpful to convey those messages really fast.
Yeah, as you can see, like it's kind of crucial for me to start having content early on in this in the process.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to design like, oh, what could be here? And you saw that actually for this experience, it wasn't about like the difficulty of the site actually. It was more
Right.
about content.
was
That was
content.
the biggest issue, like how you're laying it out, and like making sure that it feels approachable.
Yeah.
And so there's even roles that are just UX writers, content strategists,
Yeah.
and so forth that I work with to make sure that we can have the best experience.
Yeah.
But a lot of times as a designer, you may not have that.
That's
you know,
true.
you may not have even a copywriter.
Right.
Or if you do, like the copy is not great, and you're like, well, I need to tell you from a user's
Yeah.
perspective, this is what they
Yeah.
want to see, and that's
That's
like a
true.
big challenge
It
that
is
I
a
have.
huge challenge because, like, yeah, we do have a lot of broad skills when we're designing for experiences, but like sometimes writing, well, math too, right? Right, but we don't really need to use that much. But like, definitely writing is UX writing is a specialized field, and some are better. Some designers are better at it than others.
Yeah.
And for those of us that have struggles with it, relying on the source of information could be a great way to bridging some of that content. But this is still a way to frame the information in an approachable way, and all that content could be ironed out as you step up your fidelity. But we're at a mid fidelity, right? With this
Mid-fidelity, mid-fi.
Yeah, so that's a really great area to get this feedback, right? Because you're not getting all that visual feedback. You're just strictly focusing on the content and the flow of that content and how your customers will ingest that and really understand it quickly. Like that's what we said, right? We want to have it be something that's quick, something that they relate to, and then reduce that barrier of friction to do what they want to do at your website.
Totally.
Especially for these not-for-profits, because they need every ounce of help that they can get.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So something I'm doing here is, so once you've kind of figured out, yes, I'm eligible, I'm going to start the application process, I have them come into this screen. And I have this little indicator here, this progress indicator, so that they know where they're at in this step. And so actually here I'm going to have like parent details as the first step here. And so that you know where you're at. A lot of times like checkout flows will have this experience, but I really love progress indicators like in a lot of different places, so people know, how much time am I going to be expending on this experience? Is it worth my time? And so that's kind of what I'm having and putting in here is kind of like the main thing that people can pay attention to.
Yeah, and they had one on their experience that you're redesigning. They had like some arrows, but it was kind of like you're not sure how long that could possibly take. And so like
This guy here?
Yeah, so so you are still borrowing and pushing that a little bit, making it more friendly, right?
Yes, because what I'm going to do here is like when you're now in this second screen, I'm just going to copy and paste that screen and make it a bit smaller, and I'm going to make the size like a 2 or 3. And so now you can kind of see like how far in this experience you're in. And also just when you see the screens and you're like, okay, I have this screen, it has 4 fields here, you don't feel as overwhelmed to be like looking at that progress too, like, oh, how long is this going to take? You're
I
like,
love
okay,
it.
this feels like light.
It's very important.
Yeah, and so again, we have this like Google, hopefully like this Google API autocomplete field here. And then I made email address optional because I found that like my fiance works for a company that they work with a lot of immigrants. My mom is an immigrant. She don't have an email address, like, and it was a required field previously. I feel like a lot of nonprofits need to make sure that they understand that who their customer base is and know the some of the limitations that they have.
That's true.
So make sure that email address, they can have some sort of contact. A lot of people have phones because phones are given away free from the government if you make if you're under a certain income. So most people have phones. Even homeless people have phones. Like my dad had a phone when he was homeless, but not everyone has an email address,
That's
surprisingly.
true.
So
Yeah.
you think that would be easier, but it's actually not. So it's just thinking about things like this, thinking about your persona is really important with this stage, because you might be stumped at this point and be like, okay, I guess I'm done. I don't even have an email address to move forward, or I put a fake one, I guess.
And so thank you for mentioning personas, because that's something that, especially when you're designing an experience like this, you want to be able to synthesize like who you've spoke to in your research and create like like a person that is going to embody what you've learned, and they have like a set of behaviors and preferences, and they have like their own pains and gains that they go through, and you want to acknowledge all of those things in your persona. That way you can really address that individual like a real person, right? It's not just some fabricated identity. So these are really important ideas to keep in mind.
Yeah, I didn't make a persona today. I just did the user interview, but typically what I'll do is 5 to 7 interviews, get the common themes from those interviews, and then that's how I build out my persona.
Yeah.
Unless we're doing pseudo personas, which is a whole nother thing where you're just, you go into a room, you figure out with people who know the customer best, and then create like a fake persona, like what you think, conjecture, and then you validate that persona later on.
True, and it's all validation. Making sure that's a big part of your design process is you don't want to assume anything. You want to try to make more calculated hypothesis about the problem that you are facing with the people, and then you're able to validate that. And so there's a lot of really great chat in this. Really great conversation happening in the chat right now.
Ooh, what's happening? I can't even see.
So a lot of it is about understanding some of these the ways that XD is performing. Is it coding for a final product? Tima asked, and Howard, thank you for answering that question. Although XD is not focused on developing at the moment, there are some really great new features that XD has implemented, like the ability to have that share for development. When you're in that share icon in the top right, being able to share for development and expose CSS. That's a brand new feature that is really, really great for handoff. So as we expand the possibilities of XD, we're able to assist in the workflow not only of ourselves, but of the developer on the other end. And as far as the tool itself generating code that you can reuse on websites, we're not there yet. It's kind of like a big debate around these design tools is should they generate code. I think as long as it's productive, there's no harm in doing in using that. But there's always tons of ways to learn how to code if that's something that you're interested too. Because if you can do both UX and code, you can change the world. Like you literally can do things by yourself and be very powerful. So there's a lot of really great tools out there to learn how to code. A lot of places that you can go to. I know General Assembly also has a web development or coding program.
Yep.
There are other places out there that do too. And so just to also remind everybody out there that is interested in submitting their designs for the challenge, design feedback is is happening in 3 minutes. So anything that was from yesterday's or Friday's challenge will be reviewed today. And if you saw today's challenge, we're going to be reviewing those tomorrow. And so that way you have time to work. If you already completed today's challenge and it's ready to review, we would love that too. If you are as rapid as XD is, if you could design at the speed of light.
That's really fast. I mean, I think I'm a fast designer, but I wouldn't be like at the speed of light fast.
Yeah, it's really also like you design at the speed that you need to, because sometimes you can't design too fast. You're
just messing up. You're like your screen's like, did you do this in 2 minutes? It's like, yeah, I did. It's like, yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah, or also like it behaves like that, right? Because it could look great. You can make something look great in 2 minutes, but maybe it doesn't behave great.
Yeah, that's where the prototyping is super important, and why you really need to do that early on, because sometimes when you're so focused in on making it look good and then you actually try to like prototype it, you're like, actually this doesn't function, like this doesn't like feel right at all, like it's actually a pretty bad experience, and now I have to like scrape all those designs and start afresh again and like really look at my little my interactions and seeing what is the most optimal interaction here.
Yeah, and in short, like designing in a vacuum by yourself is not like always recommended. Like if you're able to outsource some of that work and get people to review it remotely, that's really great. But you always benefit from having feedback. Whether it's from the people you're designing for or users directly, or if you have a team to do that with. Sometimes we don't always have that, but we're able to recreate those.
Yeah, you don't
environments.
always have it. And so like I will show my fiance some work. I will show, I talked to my Uber driver and I gave him my whole presentation that I did today to you. I did it to the Uber driver.
that's what's up.
Because I was
Yeah.
like, what do you think about this? I user test everything all the time. And people are usually willing to do it. He's like, great job. I think, maybe this like little idea. Ask people.
Yeah.
And people love to give their opinions.
So, like, there's one thing that I learned from one of my design managers before is don't dismiss non-designers from helping you with your design work. And something about that like was really profound because you would think that the best person to go to for some design critique is another designer, but sometimes the best person is a non-designer, and they help you in ways that you would not think because they're not thinking from your same perspective. So it's all about getting out of your perspective. And Saeed, I agree that XD is the best, and thank you for telling everybody else
XD
on
is
the
the
channel.
best.
Yeah, I'm also reading some of these ideas of like people that are really interested in coding, and so learning HTML, learning CSS is very important, obviously, to understand how to design web pages. But pushing those designs with JavaScript is, if you're interested in that, please go check out the plugin documentation and create a plugin. We have design feedback in 6, 3, 2, 1,
blast
0.
off.
And we're gonna go ahead and check out, so like we're gonna look at what we're gonna be reviewing, so what people might have submitted designs for, some of these ones up top. And being able to do drag gestures, use icons and buttons in context, and that's the idea, is like one of them is geocaching. So today's challenge is to geocache an activity and to have people participate in like a scavenger hunt, right? Like, that's pretty cool. So using, and with the emphasis of icons and buttons. And today's challenge, get out of the way, is design an experience for a class scheduling assistant. And so if you're not sure how to do that, you do it by logging into Behance's Daily Creative Challenge project, and you're really encouraged to chat with the community and connect with others and just like inspire yourself and others with your designs. And then just watch the show and see what others create, people like you. And so this is today's challenge. So definitely submit those so we can see them. But we're gonna hop over to Discord and we're gonna see what people have made.
Yay.
And so we're gonna do this, and then after we spend some time on this, we'll go back and look at what you're kind of still doing and continue that.
Okay.
And then we'll set it up for where we're gonna be doing tomorrow.
Cool.
All right, so here we are. Refresh my page just to make sure that I got the latest and greatest. And so I'll just go from the bottom to the top.
Cool.
Let's see. Let's check this out. And so this is from Rise Woods, and it's a clickable prototype.
Oh,
that.
nice.
Look at that. Okay, it's called Discovered.
hunting
Look at that. It's got. We saw that there is a timed animation that happened automatically, and so that we have these hot buttons here. So let's see. Already, I really like the simple aesthetic of this, right?
Yes, yeah. I like that the maps isn't like an actual map. It's like sort of an illustrated map.
You see that too, like.
Yeah, there's
like that
some
little-
auto animate here.
Yep, and then we have to be able to zoom in.
Ooh.
Those little nice,
Oh, he's really
quick,
hitting up those
rapid-
auto animations, doing it well.
Great card design as well. And then
Not sure what that button does. Oh,
yeah, look, there's a little side panel that it pops out some stuff. That's really great. And then I like the subtlety of the auto animate. I don't know if you've noticed like the
yeah,
little pop
that's great.
and bounce.
Yeah, it looks like the little snap sort of
And then-
transition.
And there's quite a bit going on here. This is really great. So definitely like utilizing the lorem ipsum to like kind of rapidly display this is something. You can also use other sources like Wikipedia. Like there's plugins to drop in some other content. But I really do appreciate the overall design of this one. So you can every single one is not wired up, but that's fine. We got the context. We understand what it would look like in every other stage. But Let's see if there's any more here. Oh, so that's it. But I think that's really successful.
It's beautiful.
Right.
They really did a great job. The only thing I would say is that little tab on the right corner there, I thought it was maybe a back button
Right.
because of that arrow, and I was unclear because that's kind of like an interaction I haven't really seen very often. I would maybe see if there's another place that you can put that. It almost like looks like the thing that I'm supposed to do next, but I didn't realize that because of the color and so forth. Like maybe have some visual hierarchy there, because when you get into it, it's like really fun with the colors and so forth.
Right.
So maybe something on the screen there.
Right, and you could. There's other ways to like think about that. Maybe it's the icon. Maybe you need like the gripper icon that could show you that like you're supposed to tap it and like pull it, and that could work. And there's also you have the drag interaction trigger, so you can use drag as opposed to tap. To play around with it a little bit more. But overall, I really do appreciate the animations that you implemented into this rapid challenge.
Yeah.
And just like the subtleties of just rethinking like how a compass could look. I did initially think it would look like a little bit like a pill, like a long pill, but it's still great.
I see that now. The red or the blue pill, both.
Both.
Awesome design,
We are
really
in
cool,
the
really
Matrix.
good looking.
Yeah, really cool stuff there. Thank you for that one. Yeah, that map rotation though. All right, so we got another one here. Better late than never. This is okay. This is a challenge from day 2. So let's check it out. Oh, it's a video. Let's see what we can do with this one. Look at that. Interbrain.
Analyzing brain. Ooh.
Wow. So there's a whole walkthrough for this. Wow. Enjoying these like just like the
Analyzing
little
brain.
moment.
Yeah, I like
right?
that animation there. That's really cool. I'm wondering what this is. Scanning brain here.
Yeah, that's something that I was trying to discern. I know it's is it analyzing like my brain or others' brains?
Is my brain being analyzed? I feel like this one also needs some like sound effects here.
There could. I want to know what a failing brain sounds like. Maybe,
Wow.
or at least an analyzing brain. Very great job
Really
with some
cool.
of those micro animations. I think some of the like the context of this is missing.
Yes.
And that's not, and it could be, you know, because I didn't read off the challenge, but some of these you might want to like think like, how can I understand what it is without the context, right?
Yes.
It's like opening from the first time. We know that Interbrain is something about analyzing a brain.
Yeah, I
Very-
find that a lot of times when people ask me how to be better presenters with their with their designs, I always say you just need to give a lot of context and do a lot more storytelling. And when you are a good storyteller, your designs are going to just hit home that much harder. And so, you know, even just 1 or 2 sentences here, you know, that would be helpful.
Yeah, and I think I kind of get like the idea of this is like being able to have like some sort of cognitive upgrade.
Oh, can I be a robot? Is
A
that what we're
cyborg.
saying? A cyborg, yes. Well,
Yeah.
then I want to like push it to the limit with that one.
and so this is Joe, who is very active in the chat today.
Yay! Thanks,
Thank-
Joe.
And we have a
Joe and Voodoo Val, I feel like have been really
Yeah.
active. Thank you so much.
let's see if this internet here is gonna let me view this project. And yes, there it is. So it's a video. Thank you for that.
Ooh, oh, whoa. Welcome to
Look at that.
Eventify to help you. Oh,
Okay, so some of the animations are going by a little fast, and it's on a, you know, it's not something that we can click. It's something that's controlled, which is fine. This is completely great.
I think we're changing the date here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Getting started. I think maybe you're making an event. Okay. Select the prompt you want. Your activities are color coded. Oh, okay.
What is it going on? Error 404, brain not found. The comments are really great. So yeah, there's some things in this experience that that leave a bit of question. I do appreciate some of these the ability to like like create this card structure to like separate some of the content out. But this right here kind of confused me. I'm not sure exactly what date we're picking because I didn't see a drop down, so I just saw like it just magically selecting it, which is okay.
Ooh, sorry. Yeah, I also think that it wasn't clear to me what is the month and what is the day. So just having some sort of title there would be helpful as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but I think that I really like that they are playing around with the animations here, the timed animations, and I like this green that they're using. So I just think, again, we need more context as well. Like,
Yeah.
I need to be walked through this flow a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like some of these patterns, like some of the things were like in the video, just to tips on like presenting it. Some of these things are taking a little longer here on this end, but like on the front part, could have like used a little bit more time to like maybe explain what we were doing. But it does look like a task calendar, which are these are very hard to do. And I have actually taken a stab at designing a prioritization tool, and they're quite difficult because there's a lot of things to account for.
Thank you for submitting that.
Yeah,
Thank
very,
you for
very
sharing.
great. We have one more we'll look at, and so this is a prototype that someone sent in. Thank you for making it XD accessible. That's really great.
Yay.
And so let's see. This one is also a calendar. That's
I like
really
the colors
cool.
you used here too. I'm not used to seeing this like dark red maroon color and this like raspberry color together.
And so we have the back right there. We can
I think
see. Oh, there you go. Boom. Okay. There.
okay, so just a quick note right there. I wasn't sure because it looked like the same button day and week together, but it looks like it's supposed to be a drop down. So maybe if it can actually not go up and go down, and you can visually differentiate that those are two options, day and week, instead of having it go up like that.
Right.
Yeah, it was hard for me to differentiate there.
But overall, like for having like a really rapid challenge, you are approaching this design in a very interesting way, and I think it's good, interesting. And that's just having a different card system that you can then like, have different sections. I think some of these icons might need a little labeling. I'm just not sure exactly what each one is. When you go into it and you can kind of learn that that's health. But off the bat, like you might not know that, or which habit. I think those are just different habits on different days. I'm not sure. So some of that needs like maybe clarity on labeling. But yeah, thank you for submitting this challenge. I think the color that you chose on this section is really great. Maybe like with some of the pay attention to like this one right here. Like the legibility is a little low. So definitely like think about like contrast. And how like that white looks against that like more pale pink is something to pay attention to, right? Visibility and contrast. I think we have this is really cool to look at, right?
Ooh, beautiful. Is this like very similar to? Was it a brain exercise
Yeah.
yesterday? Okay, that's why we're seeing
it was maybe
brains
from
here.
a couple days ago.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah, this
I
is
like the
big as I can get.
multicolored brain. I hope that's how my brain looks if you look at it, like the one that's all colorful rainbow on the right there.
It is if you put your mind to it.
I've always said like my spirit animal is a rainbow unicorn. So.
A rainbow unicorn.
Yeah.
My daughter would say the same thing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Her and I quite similar.
Yeah. and I don't know. This is beautiful. Whoever. Let's see. This is by. Who did that? Rahul. That's really beautiful. That little imagery right there. Thank you for
Yeah.
submitting. And sorry, I don't want to butcher the name. It's Ibtesam. Yeah, Ibtesam Ul Hassan. Thank you so much for submitting your projects. Keep them coming. As we speak, probably more people are submitting, but I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Elise so she can continue doing all of her amazing like
Dance moves.
dance moves and mid non-committal dance party. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, non-committal.
Yeah.
Sometimes like when I'm working, I need to like blast the music, go on my
Oh.
stand-up desk, and just like dance it out,
My-
get that energy going.
I can't
That's what I
work
need
without
right
music.
now. Yeah, right?
I cannot work without music.
Yeah, we need to share playlists here because
Okay.
I'm a big music fan
That's
too.
what
And
we'll
you
do.
talked about Bonobo earlier. I was like, oh, what's up,
Yeah,
Bonobo?
yeah. You know,
okay.
it's like for me, it's like adult lullabies.
Yeah, totally.
It just like puts me to
I
puts me
need
in
that
a
sometimes,
great
that's
mood.
for sure.
Yeah, that's why anybody out there that has playlists that they want to share, we really would love to.
Yeah,
hear your
if
music.
if other people could share their playlists, if you're a big fan of music,
It's,
I'll share some of mine on Spotify here later tomorrow.
There we go. We'll do that. I've shared mine before, and I'll share them again. Primarily, my music interests are around like hip hop and
I love hip hop.
yeah, R&B and like.
Because you're from LA, huh?
Yeah. You know, it comes with the territory.
Hip hop heads
Yeah.
in the
it
house.
does.
Cool.
So yeah, so now we're kind of still seeing some of the progressive, being able to know what comes next and how long we have in our experience that we're filling out a form. Really important stuff. Like I feel like when you are entering any of your information in any of these situations, knowing how much time it's going to take is really important because we just need to be grounded and we need to understand how much we're investing in. So that's something that like I appreciate with experiences when we just know when we have a clearly defined timeline.
Yeah. So what I'm doing now is if you're just kind of coming into this, we had designed the main screens here, which are the user is trying to figure out if they're eligible for child care assistance. And if they are, then they're gonna go into this new experience here where they're gonna be able to fill out their application in as easy as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
5 steps.
Yeah.
Very simple for them to kind of go through and fill out. We don't have too many forms on any one screen, and we're making it really easy for the person to fill out their application and move on with the day and feel like they did something for the day. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And what I'm doing now is just the final review page. So we're gonna move the progress indicator a little bit closer to final review. They're almost done here. I'm gonna push this guy forward. Come on. I'm just gonna move this little circle up here so it's on top. So, and then they're just gonna review all their final information, and I'm just copying and dragging in, or I'm copying from the Google Sheet the copy that I'm gonna be putting in here with Repeat Grid. So I had put in the title here, so this is all the information, like we gathered the parent name, da-da-da-da-da. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make another line here with the actual information. So if someone said like, Susan, I forgot what we said her name was maybe, but Susan Mack, whatever it is. I'm going to also make this into a repeat grid.
And so for those of you that might be just joining us and not sure what we're doing,
what the heck we doing?
So CJ commented like, "What are they doing?" So right now, Elise is showing you like how can we practice or sharpen our skills as designers by taking on projects for companies like not-for-profit who are in need of support as far as like communicating their message and getting people to enroll in their services if that's what they have. By being able to practically apply UX methodologies to real life scenarios instead of just making hypotheticals. Although those are great too to like flex some of your skills and learn how to design in context, because that's what we want to do. Is we want to design in context and not something that just is make believe. We want to provide some actual like real data to it too. And so that's what Elise is kindly doing for us here today, is redesigning an experience and for Children's Home Society of California specifically, and introducing a simpler way to have people approach the organization. And as far as like having a web presence to begin with, it's quite the undertaking, and a lot of times places like these don't have the resources to create their own UX experiences. They're just trying to get their information out there and put a form up. But as these places evolve and they need to get their message out, especially if they are making an impact in a community, it's just a really good way to apply your skills. And not just like being able to use a design tool, but also practicing empathy and being able to connect with real people and just really learn the situations that people are in and being able to really like help out in a real tangible way, right? Because this isn't just work that is for this show. This is work that is going to live after the show and actually be really helpful to the Children's Home Society of California. So yeah, thank you again for that part. It's really, really important.
Yeah, so where we're at now is I'm at that final stage, like, okay, great, you're now placed on the eligibility list. What I'm gonna do now at this point is, once they've submitted everything, I kind of was thinking like, what else may this user wanna see at this point? Like, yes, I'm eligible, but what I wanna show here is maybe some FAQs about being on this list that people may have, because they might have some questions at this point. So I'm just gonna copy this FAQ repeat grid I had and paste it into here and place it in. So if anyone has questions at this point, they can come into here and read a little bit more about like, okay, how soon will the funding be available for my family? Stuff like that they might have questions at this point on. And so now what I'm gonna do, we got a few minutes left here. I'm going to prototype it again. Like today, I'm not going to be inputting any of the fields. I'm not gonna have filled fields. I'm just gonna leave it empty. Tonight when I go home, I'm gonna like input these fields so that they're ready for the user test tonight, which I'm gonna share the results tomorrow. So we're gonna do a user test. And so here I'm gonna be prototyping. So the user just came from here, right? They're like, okay, I'm eligible, I wanna complete my application. I'm at this stage. So from here, once they fill out their information, I am going to have them go into the next step. And then from here into the next step, and from here into the next. It's so easy, right? Because it takes what you did in your previous prototype, like your previous trigger, your previous animation and everything like that.
And it reapplies it.
And it just reapplies it, and that's really awesome. And so the other thing you can do is like, if I go to back, that's gonna go back here. Actually, all of these are gonna go to the same place. And so what I'm thinking now is it's kind of might be faster if I just copy this one and I just like delete all these guys. I don't know. Is this easier? Yeah, I think so. And then I'm gonna just like take all these boards and then just paste it. Oh, sometimes that works for me. The prototype will just.
Oh yeah, if you copy in the prototype mode, then it'll.
I thought I did. I guess I didn't. Did it in design mode then, huh? Yeah, if I do it, I guess in prototype mode, I did not do that today, so oopsie. And so anytime you're going through that experience.
It's still a lot quicker than.
Look how quick that was. That was like literally under a minute.
Yeah.
I'm almost like, I thought I was gonna be like, go way past 2 o'clock today, but I'm like.
You got it.
It's so quick.
Look at that.
Look at it. Mid-fi's ready. Okay, so I go into here now. Actually, let me play this really quick. So I fill this out, go to next. I see the progress indicator. I go to next. Actually, what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna get rid of these next buttons. You know why? Do you know why?
Wait, which ones? Oh.
I got rid of the next. You know why? Because I'm gonna just go straight from selecting a button into the next screen. Only make it a next if there's fields, because like when you're done inputting, then you can go into next.
Because those are more buttons, action buttons.
Yeah, you can just like go straight into this. Let's prototype it. So you click into here and you go into the next. Instead of like a next button, we'll have next for the field entries. And then the other thing now I realize is, well, if I did go into here and I was like, okay, next, and I click into here and I go to how do I go back a step? So now I want to make sure, again, I have a back button somewhere.
Right.
So I'm going to apply this little back button here just in the upper right-hand corner.
Left-hand corner.
Left-hand corner. That's what I meant. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Except you caught it on camera. It's not what I said. So I would have that back button there in case someone made a mistake, but otherwise it's just gonna flow like this. Like you're gonna fill in your information next.
Yep.
Relationship to child, select it, preferred language, child details, final review. Okay, great, you're placed on the list. Actually, we probably can't have that back button once you've submitted the information. So we'll just get rid of that for now.
Yeah, and for those curious, this is like a mid-fidelity prototype, so this is by no means like the final design. It's just
Oh,
the
it's
way.
not?
It's just the way, right? Oh,
Oh.
or it could be.
Ah, I thought I was going for
If
that
you're a
black,
minimalist,
white,
a minimalist
gray.
design, very
yeah.
minimal. Minimal aesthetic is what we're
You know what I've
looking
had to
for.
do for clients is I actually have to put on the wireframes, lo-fi wireframes, with like a little asterisk sometimes
Yeah.
because they get so stuck on it. They're like, wait, the colors are really interesting you've chosen. They're not our brand colors. I'm like,
Right.
yeah.
And that's a good, and that's actually like a good thing if, as long as your whole document is consistent in being the same like monotone color, right? Because like we were saying earlier, if you put too much style on a prototype, people will give the wrong type of feedback.
Yes, and also you have to think about who your audience is. If I'm showing it to a stakeholder, it's a little bit of a different experience than if I'm showing it to a user.
Right,
Like
that's
if I'm
true.
showing it to a user, I'm gonna have some imagery. I'm gonna have probably
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more copy. For stakeholder, I might not need to do that as much because I really want to make sure it's low fidelity. So you know that's another point. So we kind of basically did the whole prototype here. It's ready for the test tomorrow. Sans like the input fields, which again I'm gonna do tonight. Don't worry. If you're like, oh my gosh, there's no drop down menu. I'm like,
Well-
I know, I'm gonna do it, but
Well,
I'm not
we'll
gonna
find
make
out
you
tomorrow,
sit through it.
right? If you come when you come back tomorrow, because I
When you
hope
come
you do.
back tomorrow,
We will see the progress and where Elise has taken the design, and also like just to kind of give you a sense of what's coming up next. So tomorrow we have 9 a.m. the Photoshop challenge with Juan Jose, and then the Adobe Live Graphic Design with Ron Gibbons, and Andrea Hawk is going to give you the next creative challenge on screen, and then we're back here at 12 to further the case study and just kind of like nerd out a little bit more on
Yeah.
some of this UX stuff and just progress this project.
yeah, so I also, if you want to go on my screen, I do have like a wrap up of today and then what we're going to see tomorrow in case you missed it. Today we went and did a heuristic evaluation. We looked at the site, we saw what's not working on this nonprofit site. We did a user interview, we did user flows, sketching, and these mid-fi wireframes, which I just did right now.
Amazing.
Day 2, tomorrow. I'm gonna do a user test tonight, and then I'm gonna share the results with you tomorrow. So it's gonna be really exciting to see. Stay tuned.
Did you say
And-
day do?
Huh?
Did you say
Day
day
two.
do? Day do. Oh, I think you said
Day
do.
two.
Two.
They
Okay.
do. They
They
do. I
do.
don't speak French, but my fiance's French. Un do.
Undo.
They do. Maybe I'm like taking some of it in and it just like came out there. They do.
Osmosis.
So tomorrow I'll do the user testing. We're gonna go into some high fidelity designs. We're gonna change it from that gray and black to something different tomorrow. And then we're gonna go into prototyping as well, do a little bit of auto animate as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. And again, just to remind you, if you are interested in getting mentorship from me, I'm offering 5 individuals free 30-minute mentorship where I can go through your case studies, I can go look at your portfolio, we can talk about your career. And how you can get that free mentorship session with me is you can subscribe to my YouTube here, Elise UX, and you can then just message me on my email, elise@eliseux.com, or you can Instagram me, whatever. Just find me on social media. I'll receive it. And then I'm going to select 5 people on Wednesday to give that free session to. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
too.
I love mentorship. This is what I'm doing now with my life, with my career. And so, I'd be happy if you would want to participate with me.
Yeah, and then submit your designs on the Creative Challenge, and that way we can review them tomorrow.
Oh yes, yes.
More stuff to review.
I
Some
love
more feedback.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
What is the challenge? The same challenge?
No, it's gonna be. It's posted, and it is. We are gonna do. Oh, I had it. Oh, we're gonna find out online. You can check it out at Behance. We're gonna get cut off.
Oops.
Bye, guys.